IGN reports that players are divided over EA's option to pre-order the upcoming Battle Pass for Battlefield 6. But this feels like the same divide as the Civil War, which is to say that there's really just a side that's wrong. But if you feel inclined, you watching, to sign up for the second worst thing of all time, then go for it. Just know that while you are pre-ordering the purchase of your Battle Pass, I'll be pre-ordering the beating of your little ass. This is the G Word, the only video game talk show that does a recur, does not deter, and is named after a slur. Gamer is the G Word. And that brings us to our brand new product that we're launching on Moppish. Viewers and readers alike can now pre-order our exclusive early access to the option to consider the purchase of the right to obtain the exclusive choice to decide to support the ability to vote on the disclosure of a yet-to-be-determined reward system intended to allocate appropriate disbursement from the yet-to-be-determined reward system disclosed by the votes of those able via support decided by the exclusive choice obtained by the right purchased by the considerations of those with options offered through early access, not access, exclusively given to those who pre-ordered. Far Cry 4's director defended its story in response to the TV adaptation showrunner saying the story was second to the gameplay. I loved Far Cry 4, and it's my favorite entry in the series, and what I remember from the story is that I had to shoot the bad guys so I could kill the guy in the pink shirt, and that was the best one. We all need to do our best to remind the world that Far Cry 5 does not exist, so the show has a chance. And now for a segment on the G Word. All Right, I'll Read It, where we criticize publications for writing about things you could just read on your own because it's faster, easier, and you get more from it. IGN, again, couldn't resist writing an article about a Reddit post where a man shares his experience playing Pragmata with his daughter after having lost a child previously and how playing Pragmata helped him heal. Sweet story, heartwarming. Internet points all around, but you should just read the post. If you don't have anything to write about, write another guide for Crimson Desert, but just let the internet be the internet. As they say, you can't spell Ignitron without IGN. Polygon reports that the Outer Worlds will soon be removed from the stores, but there's a catch. Except that, and that catch is that there's not a catch, and the game is still going to be on digital storefronts cheaper, and if you already own it, will be upgraded to the new version, the Spacer's Choice Edition, for free. That's the catch. PC Gamer, more like PC Lamer, wrote there's an extreme lack of good quality, easy to find game figures, and after seeing people make their own, I'm tempted to try it myself. No, there's not. There's just things that only 5 people want. Even one video game figurine in a home is too much, but being so into them that you're starting to get into the quality debate of video game figurines is upsetting. And you really need to take a breather, like me, because you're one step away from being a Funko adult, and Funko adults are so much worse than Disney adults. The lead singer of Imagine Dragons is the creative force behind Last Flag, but the unsuccessful PvP Capture the Flag game is not shutting down. The studio announced they will be winding down support after an unsuccessful launch. Night Street Games announced that the game will still be playable with community servers, even allowing for custom rule sets. It doesn't seem to be that hard, and keeping servers going should be the standard across the industry, but what do I know? It's probably really hard, and it makes sense that Dan Reynolds can do it because he can imagine dragons, so what can he not do? If only he could imagine players. Our main story today is about the weird limbo that indie developers can fall into when Valve receives a submission to the Steam store, responds to the emails for a month, sometimes years, then doesn't respond, leaving developers not knowing what's going on. Valve seems to ghost indie developers who use Source Engine, their own engine, more often than when other engines are used. An indie horror game, AMYGDALA Prelude, has been pending release for 3 years, but their game has yet to be approved by Valve. According to the developers, they were told they needed a commercial agreement with Valve because they used Source Engine to make their game. When given the agreement, they signed it and sent it back to Valve and didn't hear back for months. After months passed, Valve would reach out again and ask for the same details regarding the agreement, then not reply for months, again repeating the process. There's no holding water for Valve here. They need to do better. Anyone holding water for Valve is frankly illiterate, uneducated, or both. These developers made a game on their engine and they can't get it approved for release on Steam. It gets worse though. Kaylee Morris, developer at Lunch House, developed and released a game called G-String, which had a fairly permissive development agreement, in quotes. Lunch House received a commercial license for G-String and shipped the game, and it's currently very positive reviews on Steam. PUNT, their next game, though, did not make it onto Steam, even though the developers were sent contracts, signed them, and sent them back to Valve, same as they did for G-String. These developers followed the same process, and one game was released and one game was rejected. But they were not given a reason. It just sits in limbo. After at least 3 years of back and forth correspondence, PUNT has not been released as it's shuffled between overflowing inboxes of likely underpaid employees, though I have no proof, and they said the development team has largely moved on and they're trying to rebuild the game in Unity. These are just 2 cases I found of this happening, but I'm sure there are many more. And if you're a developer and have been affected, I want to hear your story. Genuinely. You can reach us at moppish.social@gmail.com. This has been the G Word. Please, please, please don't break my heart and subscribe to the Patreon for $3 a month. Fuck InMotion Hosting. Fuck Rob from Rob's Game Shack. And in the words of Hideki Kamiya, you deserve to die 1,000 deaths. May you be cursed to never play games again. But while we wait for the likely tepid TV show, we all need to do our best to remind the world that the Far Cry 5 an indie horror game, AMYGDALA Prelude, has been pending release for 3 years, but their game has yet to be approved by Valve. According to the developers, they were just needed a commercial agreement with Valve because the lead singer of Imagine Dragons is the creative force behind Last Flag, but the unsuccessful PvP captured the Flag game is not shutting down. The studio announced they'll be winding down support after an unsuccessful night.